Hello, and welcome back to Ben and Mike's Film Room. And we saw Thor recently, the first one.
Thor, the first one, was
Yes.
it was a little bit of a trip. I think oftentimes I forgot about all the details of the movie. I remember the first part being really cool, and then stuff happens, and then the ending there was a kind of a cool fight. The end. That's what I had originally remembered, and I have to say that's a pretty good summary of the movie.
Yeah. Now, as for reference, people, we actually saw this movie almost a week ago. Ben here remembers it better than I do, in that he can remember most of the things in what order they happened, I think.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair.
I'm just a little more scatterbrained about it. But yeah, I enjoyed the movie. Like, now I wasn't paying as much attention in this one because I felt like I was more on trying to make jokes during the movie, which that's just me personally. So I might have been a bit distracted there.
And I have a little bit of a fan theory about this movie itself. That as we go, I think I'll talk about it.
Did you talk about it while we were watching
A
it?
tiny bit? It was pretty much that the movie is good until a certain point, and then it just takes a nosedive for no real reason.
Okay.
So we'll get there.
Okay. So rude.
A burp to begin. The beginning burp.
I'm not even sure if that registered.
Maybe it was a little tiny of a burp. But
Yes. Anyway, so it basically starts off with Selvig, the man scientist, and the woman from Star Wars,
the woman from Star Wars,
Natalie Portman.
Jane Foster, right? Is what
Yes,
she is in the movie.
I believe so. I haven't seen her in basically anything. Okay.
Well, that's because anyway, we'll talk about that later. I'm just
Okay.
saying. So they're driving the truck.
They're
in
driving
the
this
night.
to this weird tornado-looking thing. Though I think I think that they think that it is a astrological event.
It is.
They say that they thought it was going to be a solar aurora, like at the North Pole, the Northern Lights. They thought it was that type of thing happening.
Yeah, they called it.
You said it was a solar aurora.
That sounds like it could be in the movie, but I don't think it actually was.
It was.
But so they're going to this thing, and they just hit Thor.
They hit Thor in the face.
Well, with the vehicle, yeah.
Twice.
When you hit someone in the face,
Several times. But yeah, then it goes flashback to 954 AD BC?
AD. Thanks, Wikipedia. It's like
AD.
965
That, okay.
AD.
That seems like...
I don't know why that detail's in the Wikipedia and not in the movie.
I don't know much
Or
about...
why it would
I don't
be in the
know
movie.
much about Norse mythology. Not North mythology.
I mean,
The direction. But, I don't know. To me, any form of mythology being post BC, like everything in AD, I don't think has any kind of mythology in the back of my mind. I think about like
Yeah.
Romans, Egyptians.
that's true. A lot of the
So maybe-
mythological stuff happened way back.
Yeah, so I don't know.
So
And-
it's easy to forget that this thing supposedly happened then. But anyway,
yeah, it happened
they are
yeah.
going.
How about
We do a cutback way too far back.
yes, but
And
also
we're-
kind of early.
We're in another land.
Yes.
Or are we here?
Nor-
We're on Earth?
It was probably Norway.
So we cut back, and there's a...
No, it's Odin telling this story about how he defeated the frost giants to his children, both Thor and Loki,
Yes.
and they're in the treasure room.
And Thor's a punk at that age. He's like, oh, I just beat him up. I'm
Yeah,
the worst.
imagine
Ah!"
Zach.
like-
Imagine Zach from Zack and Cody if he looked a little better.
Wow.
If he was-
Which one was the fat one?
I think the fat one was Zach.
It was?
At
Okay, I just didn't know. I knew they're twins. It's hard to tell, but one of them suddenly got fat.
Well, now the other one, now Cody is in Riverdale
Wow.
as Jughead.
As Jughead?
I believe. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. I don't watch every CW show, people.
Wait.
There's no time for this.
Yeah, what about The Sweet Life? I guess it's over.
The Sweet Life in Riverdale. Murder. I murdered him. So yeah.
So they're telling the kids, oh, back in the day, I sure did save everyone.
I sure was a good king.
Yeah.
And I saved all the people. And then we find out in Thor 3 that was wrong.
Well, at every turn, like, Odin in Marvel, Odin is like the worst.
Is he?
Like, he comes off as wise and all-knowing, but almost always he makes terrible decisions and tells nobody. Why wouldn't he tell Loki the big twist for his own life that he is in fact the son of the enemies? Why would you do that?
Okay.
Why wouldn't you do that? That makes no sense when it's like in his biology to turn blue when he comes with by cold stuff. He's like taking a bath or goes outside in the cold. He's suddenly blue.
When he touches a frost giant, he turns blue, and when he touches the not tesseract
The
thing,
casket.
the casket. It's called the casket, but I don't think I ever even heard.
They say it like once or twice. It's pretty offhand.
Yeah.
But it is like a real Norse relic item that's supposed to release the frozen winter
Wonderland.
Yeah, I'm glad we went there.
And unleashes Frosty the Snowman.
Yeah, so Odin is supposed to be really smart, but he's just plot.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, great casting.
I know what scene you're talking about. It's when Loki is grabbing we're gonna go kind of back and forth here, people. It's when he's grabbing the casket and he turns blue and he's like, "Were you ever gonna tell me?" or something, or "Why did you bring me in?" And he said, no, he says, "Who am I?" And says, like, "You're my son." And I get what you're saying. Why make that the plot twist to his life? Why destroy his world, destroy his trust of you? But also, it's some really good acting there.
It was a good scene. I mean, they're both...
Tell me!
Hey.
That's me doing a terrible... But
yeah,
it was really... It
undercuts the emotion of the scene.
That undercut it? I disagree.
Oh, wow. But anyway, so Odin's a really cool guy in the movie. Like, it starts out, and I think the whole Asgard universe is pretty stinking magical, and it's super fun times. There's kind of a theme that runs in the early days of Marvel that magic is really just science.
But
not really.
Okay.
It takes a turn.
It's
like
when...
in 12 movies.
No, it takes a turn at Doctor Strange. There's the definitive difference between magic in pre and post Doctor Strange.
But they kind of dance on that with Ant-Man. How they go
that
into
is
the
not
quantum.
That's dimensions, my friend.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying the quantum.
It's a tiny
realm
dimension.
Is also the astral. Anyway,
even though it's supposedly okay, that's for Ant-Man eventually.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
So back to Thor. Starts out really strong. We get this cool background story of the frost giants in Jotunheim, which they say the word Jotunheim like 600 times in the beginning.
Jotunheim.
And
oi.
There's a big ceremony happening, and Thor is about to be crowned king, and he's saying the words as if they've already planned it out, like they all know what's going to happen. He's like, "And I'm going to make you the king." Oh! No, there's frost giants. Gong.
Yeah, and they're walking through, and this is where you see the fake Infinity Gauntlet, which
for like 2 frames, by the way.
Which is the point. It's a treasure room. You're not supposed to see everything, but okay. Now, in Thor Ragnarok, they literally make fun of this.
It's true.
Because it's actually the wrong hand as well.
Well, that's nice. That makes it easier. But
also canonically, it makes no sense because, wait, in Infinity War, they made the gauntlet with...
It sounds like they made it right during that movie.
They wanted people to know that that's what was going to happen. they wanted the fans to. I just think their whole seeding the ideas.
Yeah, it was fine. It was fine.
Yeah.
So the crazy thing is, Odin has this magical sense where he can sense that frost giants have snuck into his secret cavern of treasures, that he puts all his valuable weapons and treasures in one single room.
I can't prove this.
And he's like, oh, the giants. And he hits his staff, and no one there can see it, but a giant super robot thing shoots a fireball.
Well,
fire beam at them and blows them all up. They die.
Okay, one. I think he only notices them there. Because Odin, he's sort of, he's not omnipresent.
True.
But at the very least, I think he's he has some magical thing going on where he's aware of things.
I mean, he
so
does have an all-seeing eye, supposedly.
Only one, though.
Yeah, that was the whole thing. Like,
yeah.
he gave up one to get... Anyway.
Okay, are you just getting that from the Son of the Mask movie?
No, that's actually from mythology.
That's what I knew Loki from before these movies.
Wow. That's something.
Yeah.
I don't.
Loki! I'm sorry.
I haven't even seen Son of the Mask. That's like one of
Never.
those sequels that's so bad you should just never touch it. There's all sorts of ones like that. Like...
we were talking about Ice Age earlier.
I know.
Anyway, sorry, keep getting off track here. So yeah, I think he has some sort of awareness about and I think he only notices when they grab the nest.
The
Casket.
The nest.
A casket, I think basket, and then I think nest.
It's just a quick path.
Yes, and the nest.
The frozen nest.
And that, it might even have been when the guards died or whatever in that scene.
Yeah, possible.
But, so, yeah, he then pounds his staff into the ground, and then the destroyer?
I think so.
Comes out.
One of those generic names.
It's like think of a robot Power Ranger guy.
Yeah.
I can't be sure, but
man, it was so cool.
I can't.
It
was
like,
cool.
Wow, this is super awesome. It looks like it's run by magic because
magic
technology is magic.
Also, I can't be sure, but that thing I said about the metal Power Ranger thing, honest trailers might have used that. I'm not sure. Not coincidentally, but interesting fact, they actually got the director of Thor to watch the honest trailer of Thor.
That's fun.
They did the same thing with Ant-Man too.
Oh, interesting.
And Ant-Man too.
That was good.
Yeah.
So this thing happens. Thor's in a rage. He says, "Oh, we should go fight him because I like to fight, and also I think that's what a king should do because I have no idea what I'm doing." And here's the story arc, right, of Thor learning from his arrogance to becoming more humble over the course of the film.
Yeah, and for some reason, I don't know, I really dig, we all like Ragnarok, the Ragnarok version of Thor. He's funny, he's goofy, but he's also kind of dumb. This one, he believes what he's saying, it's arrogance, yes, but also, I think one of the lines I always think about when I think of, the dramatic words is when, I don't know, they go down there, Loki, Thor, and Odin go down to the treasure room, and they say, these were the actions of but a few, or something. A king must be ready, must not strive for war. And then Thor said, well, this was an act of war. And it's I can't really present how Chris Hemsworth does it, but me personally, I always like when people act dramatic.
I like the old-timey style that Thor had in this, maybe the second movie? I don't even remember that movie.
It does sound like...
the third one's totally different tone from
because
then
people,
on.
Yeah, because people weren't really... I don't know. But...
Agreed.
It kind of feels Lord of the Rings-esque.
Yeah. Clearly the vibe they're going for anyway is
Yeah, and like the dial, like I think about the, like in the, like I feel like if Thor was in Lord of the Rings, he'd be Aragorn or something. Like one does not simply. Nope, that's not what he would do. Boromir. I'm sorry, I've only seen them once.
And dishonor.
Okay, Boromir.
Dishonor on
Okay,
you.
that doesn't make any.
Dishonor on the cow. Okay, go on.
That doesn't actually make any sense because Thor would have been like, "Let's go in there." Okay, that's the point, though. He. I'm trying to sound smarter than I am. I don't know what I'm going at.
Thor has this hubris. He says, "Hey, friends, let's go do something the king specifically did not want us to do." And they're all like, "That's dumb."
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
They're like, "But we'll go with you because we like to fight too, and we're cool."
Preceding that, though.
The table? Are you gonna bring
Yeah,
up the table?
yes, the table. The literal, like, the meme of, like, the flipping of the table.
He flips the table, and then immediately after,
he goes to his friends like, "You'll help me. We are good friends. Good. Yes. Who would have thought a woman couldn't be a warrior? Could be a warrior?" And she said, like, "I did. True, but I supported you. We're going to Jotunheim."
and the table was good.
Yes.
Or was it? Because some of the food was on the ground still.
Yes, I do.
I'm very confused about where.
Yeah,
the table went
there
and
was
what
this
happened.
scene that I thought that the table was fixed.
I know there's more than one table in that room.
There might be.
But
there
it still
might be.
doesn't make any
There
sense.
might be two tables.
So they go to Jotunheim. They have a really cool fight scene. I skipped a moment, so we can go back.
Idris Elba.
Idris Elba's the best part of the show.
Yes.
Because he's like just a set piece of this universe.
Also, they ride horses on to the Rainbow Bridge.
Where did they get the horses from? Are they from Earth? And they've picked them up, and now they live in Asgard?
Don't you know that horses are just spread throughout the universe, Ben?
All the 9 realms.
No, more than 9.
I thought there were 9 realms.
From what I could tell, I think the 9 realms are though, like in Ragnarok, I think it's implied that the 9 realms are places that Odin sort of conquered in a way. I think.
Yeah, we'll have to do some more research on that between
I'm not
this and the second one.
I'm not sure how true that is.
For Marvel, anyway.
Yeah, I'm not sure how true that is for Marvel or actual mythology.
Well, mythology, it's wildly different.
I know it's wildly different.
We're not even going to go
Loki
into
gave
it.
birth to the dog in Ragnarok, people. He turned into a horse.
He was a horse at one point.
Not in the movie.
Oh, by the way... Oh, we'll talk about the horse in a second.
Okay.
They do kind of do a cool nod for Odin's horse. But, so they go to...
He has 6 legs.
They talk to Heimdall. Heimdall, right?
Yes, Heimdall.
And he opens up the Bifrost, and they travel on it to Jotunheim, and it's this broken wasteland, perfect for dark CGI fights.
Yes, it looks... It looks so dark, people.
It's really, really dark.
Imagine the darkest video game you've ever played.
It's the weirdest thing ever, too, because they just knock on the gate, pretty much. They're just like...
Was there even there was no gate.
There's somebody there. They're like, "Hey, you tried to fight us.
Laufey.
Laufey, oh yes, I'm here. I'm at the gate because that's what the king of the country always does. He lives right near the gate, so he can talk to anybody who comes to the gate." So he goes, and they're like, "Okay, it's time to fight." And then they all just decide to fight, and a bunch of people die. Ice guys, obviously.
Yes, and I think the monster
The giant dog thing that can run upside down.
Yeah, against this like inch thin. It's not an inch thin, but it's like, what is this thing? What is this chasm there above?
How does Jotunheim's have any walls? Where do people live? What is anything going on?
Yeah, it just looks like
it's just a giant
and I'm not
canyon of ice.
And I'm not convinced that this thing isn't a moon.
That's no moon.
No,
Hey.
it is a moon. Endor moon, but cold.
But, isn't there a moon near Jupiter?
Yeah, Titan.
Titan. There it is. Jotunheim is Titan.
No, Titan is in Infinity War.
That's a planet.
Actually, I'm not sure. Because
Come
I'm not
on.
sure. I'm not sure about the comics. Because I only...
We'll look it up later.
Okay,
I'm just
okay,
saying.
okay. I know in the movies it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, eventually Odin comes down. He's like, and Thor says, "We'll take them off together." And he says, "Silence."
Yeah, he like whispers angrily at him, but Odin's riding a 8-legged horse.
Are you sure it wasn't 6-legged?
It should be 8. That was my hope. And so when I saw multiple legs, I said, "Oh, there must be 8 there,"
Okay.
because Odin had
7.
7. We'll just divide it, average it out.
There's
So
a
he
fifth.
had a
There's a
7,
fifth. There's a fifth. There's a 7th leg on the chest.
just come straight out.
Yeah, it's like one of the tripods from War of the Worlds. Tom
Really
Cruise.
stabilizes the whole thing.
Yeah.
The whisper of silence. He's like, "Hey, sorry guys, didn't mean to declare war," but he also didn't bring up, "Hey, this was tiny bit of retaliation of what you did earlier when you snuck some folks in." And Laufey's like, "Oh, well, there's a traitor in your midst." And like, "Yes, I believe you, enemy." Anyway,
Yeah.
just saying, that part also doesn't. You're like, "Yes, person who's trying to kill me, I believe you."
Like,
Let it sow seeds of doubt and confusion.
yeah.
It doesn't, but
Yeah, I mean, and it's like, okay, spoiler alert, we know Loki let them in, right? He let them in before the beginning of the movie, basically.
Yes.
Before the inauguration of Thor.
wow, the coronation.
Coronation, that's the word.
It's Coronation Day. That's how I remember.
It's Coronation Day. What's
From
that?
Frozen.
Okay, I just forgot.
Anyway.
I haven't seen that movie that many times.
Yeah, I have children.
Yes, you do.
Anyway,
So
he let him in.
yeah,
in a
why?
way that
Why did he let them in?
because of his long burning plan to
Get the throne?
be the throne king guy. Yeah, to take the throne.
Like, I never thought of
I
this.
don't
but
know if the
I never,
whole plot was always his plan, like, or if it took a pivot when he discovered that his arm turns blue,
he does.
or if it
Maybe.
was always the same. Because if it was always the same,
And I think-
it makes sense.
Yeah, and Laufey is actually his dad.
Yes, yes.
And,
So he lets them in. That incites Thor to do this thing, which pretty much declares war. And then Odin's like, "Hey, you know what? Give me all them powers and your outfit through magic." Anyway,
I think they're like.
And-
I think the customer was like, "You don't deserve these accolades," which is like. I can't remember what he said. Like,
it was really, really
you
cool.
are
though.
you are huh?
It was really awesome, though.
Yeah,
Like, this
you are
whole scene
unworthy
was
of your
super cool.
title.
And he,
You
like-
are unworthy.
And he like,
And I
Fuss
cast
Rodas.
you out.
and he like fuss rodas him to Earth.
Whoever holds his hammer will ever be worthy. Will bless the power of Thor.
And then it goes, luckily, like 50 miles away.
Yeah.
Phew. Phew. Glad it didn't go to Jotunheim, you know?
Well, he threw it through the same portal.
I know. So he clearly wants them to get back together.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's
not like-
he's the dad, you know.
It's true.
Like, I think. Other thing I like about this movie is like the brother dynamic, like which you don't really see a lot in media. You know, it's always between the romantic lead and just it's always about romance or stuff. You never see like I remember in the Avengers, and he goes to. Forgive me for my stuttering, people. He gets sent to Earth by Loki. No, not by Loki.
does?
Thor gets sent to Earth by Odin to get Loki in Avengers.
Yes.
And eventually he says, like, you quit doing this, man, and just come home. And it's like, that was a nice emotional scene in that movie. And that's something you don't really see a lot. And I like how, like, towards the end when they're, like, I don't know, it's hard
This
for...
one?
I think, yeah.
Okay.
Again, I'm sorry, people, if this is too stuttery for you. This is just a mess. I'm kind of sick too.
Yeah, that's okay. So
Yeah, moving on from
yeah,
that.
we'll just move on. We'll take a detour. I agree. The brother aspect is really interesting, and you don't you feel for him, and I think it actually strengthens Loki as a villain more than it's just about a misguided soul. I hate those as villains. So
by
Thor-
misguided soul, do you mean like I think I'm right, or I'm right, but I still know it's evil?
yes.
I mean,
It's like it only over time it turned to bad, but I always had good intentions. That kind of stuff. Whereas this guy, he started out, he's like, I want to usurp the throne for my brother. I'm going to let people into the country, I'm going to let terrorists in. Whoops-a-daisy.
Yeah.
Oh, no, don't go fight them. Your father would forbid it. That kind of stuff is great. So, anyway, the dramatic part happens. Thor gets cast to Earth, and we meet...
gets
Jane
hit by a car.
Gets hit by a car, which is super fun.
Gets tased.
I'm having a great time in this movie still. It's just as good. It's better than Iron Man 2 at this point, for me. Easy. I'm not... It can't keep up with Iron Man 1 by this point in the movie where he's, in the cave. But it's still pretty stinking great. I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
And we meet Jane Foster and the stupid Darcy and Dr. Selvig.
Not a fan.
And
Darcy.
Darcy's okay. I mean, she's doing exactly what her role is, which is to be the little snarky character.
The only thing she brings to value is when Thor says Mjolnir and she says meow meow. What's meow meow? That's like the one line she got out of me. That was funny.
It was
Something about the six college credits.
That's true. Yeah, she's on an internship, but she's still there by the second movie. Anyway,
No, I don't know.
We'll have to double check.
She gets her own intern actually.
oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Good, because that person's not worth it.
Sorry, poor intern.
Anyway, screw interns.
That's harsh. The people are interns.
I don't know any.
That's yeah. Well, it's a temporary thing most of the time.
Anyway, movie.
So we meet these people. It's super fun to see the old-timey thought process in the modern era. Like, he gets the cup of coffee, and he was like, delicious, I'll have another.
Yeah, and came out in 11, so 8 years on, that scene is still funny.
It is. It's just good. And
I'll have another.
Everything...
And another thing about this is technically, it doesn't act like it, but it's kind of a fish out of water story. No? Actually, no. It had
It's a glorified coming-of-age story.
I think. It has elements like the coffee thing, but no. That was
almost none of that.
Yeah, the thing about it, I'm just dumb.
I think that element is one of the best parts of the movie.
No, I'm just trying to be one of the other podcast people who are like, oh, I have interesting ideas, listen to me.
Well, there you go. That's how other podcasters be.
Yes, they're just better at it.
So he's on a quest. He wants to get back home. So he's like, well, let me go get my hammer. Let me get my stuff. And goes and fights a bunch of people, which is fine. The fight in the mud is stupid, if you ask me. But him in the hospital was hilarious. So I'll allow it.
Yeah, I never really noticed this. And I still don't, but apparently Thor's eyebrows were dyed blonde.
Oh, it's really obvious. Looking based on the later movies for this one.
I don't remember. I don't remember him looking like this because recently in Infinity War and Ragnarok, he has a buzz cut and has a different style of beard, I think.
Yeah, he kind of let it come in a little bit more. This one's it was a little tighter. It's more the traditional look of the Marvel Thor.
More beardy.
So they kind of went away from it, but so he can't get the hammer. He's a failure. He bumps into Loki, who feeds him a line, tells him lies, and says, "Oh, nobody wants you here," and
father is dead.
Father died, and whatever. He told weird half truths,
which is kind of,
but which makes sense, but only if you assume someone else is going to come to corroborate those half-truths. Like, why not just tell him anything you want to? Because as soon as the friends come later, they're just like, nope. And he's like, oh.
What do you mean? I don't...
Like, the...
Because, like, I remember him saying, like, father is dead. What you're saying is...
Mother won't speak to you. Like, the father dead thing, Odin sleeps pretty much, is very similar to death. And...
I honestly don't know.
I don't know either, but it looks like he's pretty much... Like, he had an intense conversation.
Also,
and
he has, like, this force field thing over him, but it doesn't affect...
do anything.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything. You can get on top of him and attempt to stab him, and he can't do jack. Like, from what I can tell, it's like a recharge pod.
I guess.
I think. I'm not sure if that's what it is in the comics, people.
In the second one,
We're not experts on the comics.
That's very true. In the second one, they spend more time talking about how they're not immortals or gods. They just have very extended lives. So maybe it's like some life restoration, extension, health thing.
No, I
don't
think...
know. They do some weird science stuff in it.
I think that he has some magic thing. Like, maybe because he just cast out his son. Maybe it's a mixture of him emotionally, like, casting him out.
That's
first,
gonna be hard on him right now.
Yeah,
right?
first casting him out, then...
Didn't even talk to his wife about it. I'm just saying.
We don't know.
No, he definitely didn't. He had no time to do it.
You're right.
So he goes there, unless he's like, hey, hun, I'm going to go cast out Thor.
Because they go from Jotunheim back to the Bifrost, and they're like, I cast you out, boom! And then he's just like, hey, hun.
The wife, yeah, mom does not care at all, apparently. And he's like, oh, I'm glad you're back. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know. Just saying.
But yeah, my theory there is then that maybe physically and emotionally it took a toll on him. And also the fact that he was talking to Loki at that time where he passes out. Which I'm not entirely sure what happened there. Like, I'm not sure if they actually ever say.
No,
he does kind of
call some guards.
And he does, like what you said before, with the half-truths. He said, your banishment was too much for him.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. It's like,
yeah.
Oh, he just died. And whatever. It's not a big deal, but that made him say, well, I'm going to stay here until I've put in my time.
Till I'm worthy.
I can't... Well, I'm exiled forever, pretty much. And so he gets more rooted in place because the only reason the war doesn't happen is if he stays exiled. That's what he was told. So he's getting his feet wet. Nope. Digging his roots in. Getting to know
dirty.
Jane. It's like, hey, you're really cool. And she's like, you're really cool. And they're both like, we're cool.
Also, yeah, let's say what I have to say for, like, the nitpick section, really.
I mean, I'm about there because they do the thing where they say, hey, fans of movies but not of Marvel and comic stuff, we're going to take a second to tell you that science and magic are the same right now so that it's less weird and we're not all about flying magic and weird horns on helmets.
Yeah, which is like, I like that look on Loki, the helmet, you know? I think it's a good look. I don't remember if he actually wears it in Avengers. I'm not sure.
I thought he did, but his hair is so beautiful.
Ugh.
You have to let
You should... Okay,
that,
he looks full-on bad boy in the second one.
Yeah,
he has, like, this messy hair, his untucked-in shirts and everything.
It's just like Matt Damon.
Yeah, and then you have one of the Ragnarok trailers actually shows him with the helmet on, and it's not even in the movie. But yeah. So
they did that thing.
Yeah.
And then I think the movie goes from being absolutely fabulous to just kind of, hey, we got to wrap it up. I think right after the friends arrive and all of that, right? So they arrive, they say, hey, everything's alive, the automaton destroyer appears. He's like, I'll sacrifice myself. Why? I know that's like what has to happen, but there's been no character development to show him care about these people more, or being willing to put himself on the line more. Like,
But who
it's been
wouldn't?
like,
Who wouldn't want to save Darcy?
of course, you want to save Darcy and Mew Mew, and her noticing of Mew Mew, but it was
need a
just kind of
horse.
like, of course, that's what had to happen. But it was just like a sudden jump, and after that, it's like, oh, and then the Hammer notices that he's sacrificing himself, so he flies away.
No.
Why does he fly?
Because
Why does the Hammer?
because
fly?
Odin cries a single tear, and because
What? And that like undoes the spell, and so
no,
the
it's
Hammer
like
goes back?
he basically died. I think Thor basically died, and then
Thor cries the tear.
I think Odin recognizes his worthiness and gives them his hammer back. So basically, it's the ending of Tangled.
Wow. Okay. So Odin magically says, "Hey, Hammer, go back there and do your thing." And I think from that all the way until the fight with Loki, like, well, I guess the twist with villain's name
Thanos.
Laufey,
Yes, Laufey.
not at all Loki. Laufey, just different names. Don't even think.
Okay,
about
this is okay. Blame the Norse people. Blame the blame the Norwegians.
it. Norwegians. There's a nation of Norway.
Yes, Norwegians.
So
We clearly just lost all our viewers
yeah,
from Norway.
We are. Oh man, all three. They'll be sad.
No, all -4
-4 now. But
for Thor.
the movie really, from there to the end, it's just like, well, we gotta wrap up pieces. Thor's gotta be nice. He gets his outfit. Hey, I'll see you later, girl. Let's kiss for no reason.
Because we knew each other for like 3 days.
I
Also, we've
know.
completely ignored the shield in this movie.
Yeah. Well, it like set up some tunnels around the hammer and
Yeah, we got a
like,
brief cameo from Hawkeye.
Hawkeye. Oh yeah, I
Which-
forgot about. But he didn't do anything.
You're right, he
Why
didn't.
didn't he shoot an arrow or something?
I don't know.
At least in anger, extremely accurately.
Can I just say that it's funny that he grabs a gun, puts it down, and then grabs his arrows? How did that make any sense?
Dumb. I mean, I know you're good with a bow and arrow, but that means you have good accuracy. I'm just saying, if you're magically good with an arrow, then
Like, I don't know what the history of Hawkeye is in the movie universe, but let's be serious. Arrows, quieter assassin tool.
it's true. But I don't know if you watched a movie, but if you put a silencer on them, they just go.
You're right, but guess what? Silencers in real life do nearly...
Well,
okay,
it
from
depends, but-
short range, you cannot
That's.
kill
not.
someone in a crowded room with a silencer.
Well,
you
I'm
can't.
just saying that.
I know, you're saying.
In a movie, if we're in movie land.
You're right, you're in movie land, but come on, people.
But yes, they, just like in Iron Man 2, they brought in another character of the Avengers who will never get their own movie. As far as I know.
I don't think so, but
I mean,
I'm
shoot.
not convinced that he won't make an appearance in the Black Widow movie.
And that's already been slated in like Phase 4 or something?
I think they're going to begin production on it later this year.
Oh, okay. I mean, sure, let's watch it. I just don't...
But yeah,
So we
have a
get
long
that
one.
tie-in,
Yeah.
we get Shield.
Get Coulson.
Coulson does this dumb thing where he's like, "Oh, where'd you get your training from, huh?"
Afghanistan,
like-
Germany, Honolulu,
Yeah, it was just like, what are we doing right now?
Mr.
We all know
Mr.
he
Miyagi.
He came from space Norway, and so there's no way that it would be any of those things. I don't know who that's for.
You know what?
that
We've
to add
seen
more
Coulson.
realism?
Okay, as of now, we've seen Coulson in the trailers for Captain Marvel. We know that Coulson has seen flying people.
That's true, but he's never seen Thor fly.
You're right, but he's seen space things.
That's true. They'll probably do some weird retcon thing about that. Anyways.
They'll Men in Black mind wipe him. Why isn't there?
Ooh, yeah.
Why hasn't there been a Men in Black movie set in the 90s?
Wasn't there one?
No.
Oh, there's one in the 70s when they went back in time, the third one.
69
60s.
because it
Oh, the
with the
moon.
moon.
There it is.
Okay, sorry for that.
Well, Hemsworth is going into the next Men in Black movie, so
Yep, it all comes full circle, people.
So this character thing happens. The big twist of Laufey gets in to kill the king. Just kidding. This was all an elaborate play.
Like full
And
on.
he gets murdered.
Full on sits above his stomach.
That is not an efficient way to kill someone.
It's also like, dude, what are you doing? This is a dignified way to murder your enemy.
I guess so. I don't know.
And
So the big twist is it's all a performance so Loki can prove to Odin how dedicated he is and how he should be the king. Watch me blow up Jotunheim.
I think, yes, but also I believe that he was also doing it because, like, see, Father, I am worthy of respect or something. Like, even after our tussle, our fight, our clashing of words, I still love you.
And it
I love you
shows-
enough not to let you die.
And
That should tell you something.
That's very true. It also says, "Hey, I don't care about my past. Watch me kill my actual father." It's a little intense.
Yeah.
Just saying, watch out, Odin. You know, I mean, I know it doesn't work out for Odin eventually anyway, but
Yeah, he has like 5 years left.
he like turns to dust or whatever.
Yeah, he Luke Skywalker's away.
Yeah, he does. But
Even though that came first.
actually, it was a long time ago.
Ragnarok came first.
I'm saying Star Wars happened a long time ago.
Shut your face hole.
Uh,
Hoo-hee-ha-ha! That was funny.
So the Bifrost is turned on to max power,
and it
and
start
there's a giant ice tree that comes in, which looked really cool. That's just gonna continue to shoot the
let's-
Bifrost until the planet
to be
explodes.
specific, the lightning around it freezes.
It was really cool.
You're right, but come on.
It was super cool. It's the Bifrost. That's all.
Okay, moving on.
Like
Which
that's all
I
and then
think was
Thor has the fight. The fight is cool. He's mostly like, "Hey brother, what are we doing here?" He's like, "It's too late for that." And then the Loki does his cool multiplying visual power thing, and Thor's just like, "Punch the ground. I have an idea. Hit the ground."
good thing he wasn't on. Good thing Loki wasn't on the side of the bridge with no arm rail.
Yeah, there's so many chances where that could have gone anyway,
Then he puts the hammer on top of his chest.
which was great because it was the start of funny jokes about the hammer. I don't
Yes.
know if it was supposed to be funny at the time,
I think
because doesn't he just go and like
that
stomps really hard and breaks the bridge?
No,
No, he just goes in and like
he walks over to the edge, and then he summons the hammer to come forward, and
give
then
him
he
some space.
starts
I
hammering.
forgot. Yeah, there it is. And it was really noble and brave. So from the time he sacrifices himself to this time, this character makes sense. And then the movie before it makes sense. But the two together don't really make sense. Because why would he blow the thing up? But also, how does that impact the Bifrost from existing? Right? Doesn't Odin still have full control over the Bifrost? And like the bridge was just like a channeling of the power to make it more convenient?
Somewhat, but also no. Because there's several things. Because that have said, like, oh, I've seen videos that are like, here are 10 Marvel plot holes that aren't actually plot holes. Like, in the first Avengers, Thor comes down. It's like, but wait, wasn't the bridge broken? And then there's a line in there that said, like, how much dark magic did Odin have to summon to get you here? And then in Infinity War, what's his name? Idris Elba. He says, let the dark magic flow through me one last time, and that's when he sends Hulk down. Mm-hmm. So, clearly, I think, like, the Bifrost works with that sword. You put the sword in, it's a key, and then you turn it. It's literally a key, and then it works. So I'm not sure. I won't pretend to know this, but I feel like Odin can do it by himself, but
Yes.
it takes a lot out of him. And I think after that, he actually did have to go into the Odin sleep again.
Well, I will say that later on, when Thor gets Stormbreaker, it has power to control the Bifrost.
Yes.
And so that's how he can teleport to and from. But the Bifrost is just an essence in the universe.
Maybe.
Anyway, so he destroys this thing.
It binds
so
us.
noble.
It penetrates us, Ben.
It's all around us.
It's
The
all
Bifrost.
around us. I'm Ringo.
That's even worse than my Obi-Wan Kenobi. The Bifrost. It's
Come
all
on,
around
John.
us.
Come on, John. We're the Beatles. Am I even alive? I don't know.
Ringo's still alive. Don't say that.
I don't know these things. He could be dead tomorrow.
So, in conclusion, having watched the movie, well, and then there's the little after scene. I forgot. We gotta wrap that up too.
Yes, the ending scene is like
Dr. Selvig.
Dr. Selvig is that shield or something, and he's underground. It's like, oh, it's some kind of a labyrinth. I thought you were trying to kill me. And then Nick Fury doesn't respond like, yeah. Anyway, sir, and he shows him like, history tells us one thing, legend another. Sometimes it breaks in between.
Perfection.
Yeah, I know, it's great. And then he shows him the Tesseract, which at this point in the timeline we'd know nothing about.
It's true. It's a
Which
glow
actually,
box.
in the comics, this cube thing, completely different thing.
Really?
Yes, I think it's called... what's it called? I don't remember, but it's like the cube of... It's like... The Cosmic Cube, that's what it's called in the comics. And I don't think it's an Infinity Stone in the comics.
Is the Tesseract an Infinity Stone
No.
originally anyway, or are they still stretching it even further?
Like, the movies do whatever they want.
Very true.
Like in we'll get to Iron Man 3 eventually, but in that the Mandarin one is like Asian, not...
Oh, it was super amazing that they chose that villain because he's so racially insensitive. And so everyone was
Well,
like,
they did
how
it...
can they do this?
Okay,
And
we'll get to
they
that.
took some
We'll get to
choices.
that later. But my point is, they made changes, one, to make it seem like a more credible threat in today's time, because back when the Mandarin was written, we were in like the Vietnam War, I think.
Ooh, even worse.
Yeah, and the Korean War, something like that. Anyway,
Probably the Vietnam War, because
yeah, that's actually where Iron Man actually crashed.
Really?
That's
In
ac-
Vietnam?
Something like that. He was in some cave in the Orient.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So so we see the Tesseract,
Yeah.
and it looks like Loki is controlling Dr.
Selvig.
Selvig's mind.
Yes.
It's like, oh, that sounds like a good idea, wager.
Yeah,
something.
something.
He's like, I'll say the things you just said, implying mind control.
Even though in Avengers, he just straight up gets his spear and mind controls him.
Yeah, well, he's got a smart mind, so it takes multiple minds.
Yeah, I could agree with that. But also, you know what? Maybe that's how he knew where the Tesseract was, even though how did he find him in the first place?
There's so many, like, why would you pick Dr. Selvig
There's
as the mind control piece? And if
Which
you
he had
fell
never
to
met.
your
Which he had
abyss-
never met.
Yeah, you're like, I'm gonna choose a random doctor. How about the one who likes this? Well, I mean, maybe you hear.
How about the
people
guy
talking
who
about
likes
Thor.
Boilermakers?
Maybe they're talking about Thor, and he's like, oh, that guy. And then, I don't know. Well, didn't he get the staff as a gift
From Thanos.
from Thanos?
Yes.
So there had to be some time.
Not a gift. It was
Well,
a tool.
like a loner.
It was a tool. Yeah, something like a loner or tool to conquer Earth.
Yeah.
Like, I think he actually went... That's another thing we need to talk to the Avengers about. Like, Thanos sending these people to Earth. Like,
We're gonna have
at
to
that...
do like a double one for Endgame to talk about Thanos before the movie, and then Thanos in the movie.
Yeah, well, okay.
I think that's the best way to cover it. But
Okay.
we'll figure that out.
I'm not sure if this has been very clear, this episode. I feel like it's been pretty scattered. I feel like if people downvote this podcast, which I don't even know if you can do, but if you could, I bet people would.
Smash that like button.
Subscribe.
Subscribe. Yeah. So to wrap it up, I think Thor was one of my favorite Marvel movies until
Avengers.
until the inevitable self-sacrifice. I thought up until that point I was having a really good time, and then it was
Too sappy.
Of course, it was going to happen. It just didn't take the jumps necessary for the character change that was required for the movie to progress. Like, it didn't really happen. He didn't earn it. He just decided to be a good guy all of a sudden, and humble and thoughtful, and learn from his father more. Like that, all that stuff just decided to happen. He didn't decide to do that thing. It just occurred.
Yeah. So
I'd give it 3 Mew Mews out of 5.
3 Mew Mew, so 6 out of 10.
6 Mew Mews. I don't know.
I think 6.5. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
So I will give this the same as you, a 6.5 left-handed Infinity Gauntlets out of 10.
There we go. It was overall, it's just fine. I think the first phase is a little rocky no matter what.
So Iron Man 2, surprisingly enjoyable.
The whole first phase is rocky. I don't care what you say.
You haven't watched the first Avenger yet. You haven't seen that in a while.
The first Avengers?
No. Captain America.
And that's what we're watching next, right?
Yeah.
There it is. So tune in next time.
Tune in next time on the road to Endgame.